Hey everyone, it's David and Christine, and we're making life fun today by doing the first ever scary ride breakdown.
That's right. I am really scared of roller coasters and certain rides. And so we decided to do a breakdown of a lot of rides in Orlando and to let you know everything you need to know if you're afraid of rides too, so that you know if you're good to ride it or not. And maybe there's someone that you know, someone in your family or friends that is notoriously scared of coasters or other rides. And so you can help them out and maybe they can ride it. Or maybe they can't. But
you'll find out by watching our videos.
That's right. So come on. So like I said, guys, I'm really scared of roller coasters. And so I thought a lot of people could benefit from having videos that kind of break down each coaster and what there is to be afraid of maybe and what there is not to be afraid of on that ride. But I also understand that everyone's different when it comes to being scared of roller coasters. Not everyone's the same. Some people, their issue is big drops. And some people, their issue is going upside down. Some people have no issue with going upside down or big drops, but they hate going super fast. Some people hate that feeling of weightlessness. A lot of people have different issues. So I'm gonna break it all down, let you know if you have certain issues, if you need to be afraid of certain things, and if you don't need to be afraid of other things. And overall, try to give you a good idea of if it's a good idea to ride it or not. It may be best not to ride it. I know a lot of people get really bad anxiety before riding certain rides, especially if they don't know what's coming on it. And hopefully I can help with that, kind of breaking down the outline of the ride and kind of the format, and so you have an idea of what's coming next. But ultimately, you still might have a lot of anxiety, and that's tough to deal with. I think it's really important to conquer your fears, to not let fear control you. And if you want to ride it, don't let fear get in the way and making sure you ride it. Now, a lot of people have no issue with roller coasters. They think they're so much fun. They are so much fun. I also love roller coasters. I'm terrified of them, but also love them. Some people just love them and they're not terrified of them. And it's important for you guys to understand, you don't have to deal with the anxiety that your friends or family are dealing with. Don't pressure them into riding. Don't shame them into riding. Don't say buck up or suck it up and get on it or stop being a scaredy cat. All that does is make the giant mountain of fear of the roller coaster in their head even bigger. Let's bring that mountain down. Let's make it smaller and say, hey, I would love for you to ride. I think I would have more fun on that ride if you were there with me. But if you don't ride, I understand. You know, it's scary and it's no big deal. And maybe at least go in the queue. I think the queues at Disney are really good, and it's very easy to just not go on the ride at the very end. Just let a cast member know at the very end, say, hey, I'm not riding, where do I go? And they always let you know where to go. I do that plenty of times. But just leave space for them to feel comfortable to not ride. Like I said, you don't have to deal with what they're dealing with. You don't have to deal with their anxiety. You can't take it on for them. I know it's frustrating because to you, it's only fun and you just want to have fun with your friends and family. I get it. But it can be a lot to deal with for some people. So don't shame them or make them feel bad. Just be there for them, support them, and tell them, hey, I hope you ride with me. If there's anything I can do to help you conquer this, I get it. But also know that it's difficult and that if you don't ride, it's okay. So going into Everest. Everest is one of the most intense coasters at Disney. It might be the most intense. The idea is that you're going into an old mountain that has a mysterious Yeti in it, or so legend has it, and you might encounter that Yeti. Spoiler alert, you are gonna encounter that Yeti. It starts off pretty tame. You get in the ride vehicle. It's a standard 2-row single track train, and you start just kind of small dips, just kind of cruising along, and then you go up into this really big lift hill. Now, I'm terrified of heights, and this lift hill is always a challenge for me because it really makes you confront how high you are. So the lift hill, first of all, is a steep one, steep and very tall. Maybe it's not that steep, but it's certainly really tall. And so you climb super high, and eventually there is nothing to your left or to your right except the vastness that is Disney property. So you can see pretty much every park and all the land, and you can really tell how high you are. And so if you're really scared of heights, that might be a little difficult to confront, but it's not very long. Pretty soon you are going into the mountain, and when I say going into, it's just like a tiny dip, nothing scary at all. And then you make a turn, you pick up a little speed, and this is another scary part for some people. You kind of go up toward the edge of the mountain, and then the tracks are broken. It seems like the Yeti has destroyed the tracks and there's nowhere to go, and you stop right before a massive cliff where you would just fall into oblivion. If you're in the first row, this can be pretty scary because it really is just a massive drop off and you get really close to the edge. It's not like they stop 2 or 3 feet before the edge. You go right up into the edge and that can be kind of scary. And then you go backwards into the mountain. It's not very steep, but you do go down a little bit backwards. You're not going to feel any G-forces, weightlessness, anything like that. You go back into the mountain, so it's dark. It's very dark and it feels like you go up backwards, very steep. Now again, like I said, it's dark, so you can't really tell exactly how steep you are or what's going on, but it is really intense. You do get a lot of G-forces in that. You get that feeling that you're falling in your stomach, and it's pretty intense. If you don't like going upside down, you get the feeling that you're going upside down. You're not actually going upside down, but you get the feeling of it. So that might be a little difficult. After that, you come to a stop, and then you can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel, and then the tracks rotate, they change, and then you go forward into the big drop. Now let's talk about this big drop. Pretty much my biggest thing is heights. I hate heights. I'm so scared of heights, but I face them because I think coasters are so much fun. So if there's more to the coaster than just drops, then I definitely try to ride it, so I have fun. But when I first got on Everest, I Googled how big the drop was, and that was a bad idea, because when I looked it up, it said that the drop was the biggest drop in Walt Disney World, and that it was like 20 or 30 feet longer than Splash Mountain. And that really worried me because the Splash Mountain drop really is difficult for me. So I was very worried, but I already decided I was going to ride it, so I was freaking out. This drop, it is a big drop, but it's not that bad. And when I say not that bad, it's not as bad as you may think when you think of a big drop, or when you look at it when you're off the ride. It can look intimidating, it looks big, but the track kind of catches you about 3/4 of the way. So you're going straight down for a little bit, and then it kind of catches you and kind of banks a little bit, and that really cuts off a big part of the drop. So that feeling of actually dropping, you don't feel it for a super long time. It's only for a little bit, just like a second, a few moments, and then you're kind of relieved and you don't feel that anymore and you're back to normal. So I would say, unless you have a severe fear of drops, you should be able to tolerate that. It might be difficult, but you should be able to tolerate it. After that, you go back up into the mountain. It's pretty steep, and then you go in, small bank, come out of the mountain, and then you do 2 twirls on the outside. By twirls, I just mean you're just going in a circle, big circles, and then you go back up into the mountain. I think that's when you see the Yeti and you make a dip down and kind of avoid him. These are small like dips and drops. We're talking like less than 10 feet, nothing too crazy. And then the ride ends. This ride does go fast. It's loud. There is a really big drop, but like I said, I'm really scared of big drops, but I can handle this ride. I ride it every time. I always get a little scared, but nothing that I can't overcome, or nothing that's too intense. The only other thing I think you need to look out for on this ride is if you have maybe any vertigo issues or any motion sickness. In that part where you go backwards into the mountain and it feels like you're going up pretty steep, sometimes I get a little dizzy during that part. So if you have any motion sickness or any vertigo, I would say severe. If you have severe motion sickness or severe vertigo, maybe pass up on this one, or at least go with a lot of caution, because I don't want you to have any episodes. But if it's mild or even moderate, you should be okay. I think you'll be okay on this one. If you have a big fear of heights, it's going to be a challenge, but I think you can do it. Again, unless it's paralyzing fear of heights, I think you'll be okay on this, and I think you'll have fun. There's not too many moments of weightlessness or airtime or anything like that. It's just a really well themed coaster where what you see is what you get. You're gonna go a little fast, big drop, couple dips, and then that's it. So on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being the people mover and 10 being the most intense coaster that was ever designed by a scientific maniac, I would give this a 5. Like I said, it's one of the most intense coasters on Disney. If you can do this one on Disney, you can do anything at Disney, I think, maybe except Tower of Terror. We'll get there. But yeah, hope this helps. Send this to someone that maybe is going to Animal Kingdom soon, is a little nervous about the different rides. This is a big one. This is a big one to be worried about. Hopefully this helps them. I hope you get on it and have a great time. But ultimately, I hope you make the right decision. And if you don't think you should go on it, then don't go on it. And you'll have fun enjoying the rest of the park. So we just rode it. We had a blast. It's a lot of fun. I always get a little scared, but that's one I can always do without too much of an issue. I hope this video was helpful. Like and subscribe if you learned something. Comment below if you or someone you know is scared, what you guys are scared of. Maybe there's other rides you want us to do. So let us know. But I hope this helps someone.
Thanks for venturing with us, and don't forget,
Make life fun.